See that happen. Okay. We will now return to open session at 6 p.m. There was no reportable action. With no further business before the board, we are adjourned at 6 p.m. Just right on in. Okay. All right. I call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. There goes my snack. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right. All directors are present. Approval of the agenda. Mr. Bartz, are there any changes to the agenda?
No changes to the agenda.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. Public comment. Are there any members of the public for public comment?
Yes, in person, we have Dr. Brian Holman from Snowline School District, and on Zoom, we have Sam Shoup with Supervisor Cook's office.
All right. So we'll start with you, Dr. Holman.
Good evening to the Board of Directors and Administration. Thanks as always for allowing me to come up and speak to the goings-on of the school district. And yes, this is an exciting time. School is starting. It is coming. It is almost here. Thursday, August 11th. Snowline Joint Unified School District will open its doors, all 13 schools, including our adult school, to it looks like about 8,000 kids. And so we are so excited for success for all kids. Again, around 8,000 now. We're still growing. I'll get to that in a moment. We have almost 1,000 employees who will be serving this entire community, 45,000 residents or so. Just so thrilled to get back into this. And in the spirit of our hashtag this year, and that's hashtag Snowline Success, know that those 3 S's that I think I've talked about before, safe, right? We're engaged in our audits right now at all of our sites and departments to ensure that we have the utmost safety that's necessary for all students as well as adults at all of our facilities. Secure, orderly, welcoming, and caring environments too. We have I've also mentioned in here a full commitment this year to a health and wellness plan to ensure during the trauma that has occurred, not just in COVID-19, but prior, we know we have kids and adults, right, in that spirit of that oxygen mask on the airport, or excuse me, on the airplanes, right? We've got to take care of ourselves, take care of the kids. We have got a comprehensive health and wellness plan through working with outside and inside experts to ensure that we are making the best experiences for all so that they're getting, they meaning anyone who needs it, the support for that success that we're alluding to. And then I just have to share a quick little plug too. We also know from the research that when students are getting important life skills, right, that notion of social awareness, responsible decision making, self-awareness, relationship skills, they perform 15 to 20% better academically. So we know from the research that this work that we're engaging in is very powerful. We're looking forward to kicking that off, all for a world-class education for all. Now, if you're wondering at the state level, the mantra now is living with COVID. We're, again, always going to be following the California Department of Public Health guidelines, which are aligned to the San Bernardino County Department of Public Health. They align, to the state. And then we, in turn, we don't put any extra any extra measures in place, we follow what the county and the state says. So again, in the spirit of living with COVID, no masks are required. And in fact, those recommendations that are put forth by the California Department of Public Health will be followed by us, but they are recommendations. Requirements are gone. They're now recommendations. So thrilled again to have all kids and staff members back at our sites in the ways that we're so used to, all the while still maintaining, again, the safety that I mentioned before. And then just, getting to the end here, staff members come back all throughout the summer. All of our teachers come back on Monday, and we'll have our welcome back breakfast from 7:30 to 10 up here. Please know there might be a little bit of traffic for a little period of time, but we're going to be out in that stadium gathering together as 1,000 employees strong, making certain that we're readying ourselves. We've got a keynote speaker. We'll have some breakfast out there and get ourselves ready for what I just mentioned, which is on Thursday again. And please, if you could spread that word, enrollment's on the website. Please push anyone out in that direction. And we do have jobs available. I know all of you have them, but we've got about 60 plus jobs that are on the website as well. And I just can't thank our staff members enough who've just been working like all of you, extra time during these difficult, challenging environments that we're dealing with and experiences to ensure that we do what's necessary. And just going to end, I see Sean is not here tonight, but I want to thank Sean Wright for partnering. You guys have always been very supportive of us in terms of partnering and helping us. He's reached out to make certain that now that we're in a little bit less restrictive environment, we can get back up to the water tank, paint that water tank. So big thanks to Sean. If you would pass it along, we greatly appreciate being able to do that. It was about, gosh, the way time goes by now, was it 2.5, 3 years ago, right? When we resurrected that. People like Director Hoffman and myself, we remember from many years back. That happened many years ago, even though you're still very young though, right? Director Hoffman. But I'll tell you, that's a real connector to the community, right? To be able to drive by that tank and see the current graduating class. And so I just hope you know that some people might think that's small, really meaningful to us. So we greatly thank all of you for allowing us to do that. And if you pass along to Sean, he reached out, and we're ready to do that right when we get off of the school year. So thanks so very much. President Kajawa, as always, thank you for allowing me to speak. I'll certainly answer any questions as necessary.
Yet, in order for the students to get the full effect of painting on the tank, they need to do it not during the week when the gates open. They need to do it on the weekend at night when nobody's around and they sneak in and do it.
By flashlight.
That's much more fun to do it that way than you surprise us what they're going to paint on the tank.
Well, Mr. Barnes, I would say I've never even heard of an idea like that there. I never have heard, but certainly
either,
yeah, maybe we just, that's all news to us,
Director
right?
Hoffman is,
There we go.
We may have done that.
But honestly, I hope you again know we greatly appreciate it. So thanks for supporting us in that cause.
Just have a question.
Yeah, yes, Director Robert.
Has there been any inflection in the high school graduation rate in the last couple of years?
I don't know if everyone, the quick answer is no on the data that were most recent, but as of this coming year.
I know it's pretty close.
It is pretty close.
It's going to take time to look at it.
It is going to take a little bit of time, but actually our graduation rate has been one of the higher ones, not just in the high desert, but in the entire county. So we've been very proud of that. It's so interesting that you mentioned this because the last school year that just occurred, it was a challenging school year. I will tell you, that was the most challenging of the 3 years that were impacted by COVID. And we do know that we're going to have to put in some services. We were just having a meeting right prior to this meeting to ensure that we give kids extra opportunities to make up the credits necessary to graduate. So we'll get there. I appreciate you asking that question. It's a powerful one because we also know from the research, if kids don't graduate, their life outcomes go down dramatically. And so it's very insightful of you to bring that up. That's one of the major measures that we're following. So right now, and again, if you saw U.S. News and World Report, I think I mentioned it last time, I can't say it enough, Serrano High School right up here, our one comprehensive high school, was the highest ranked comprehensive high school in the high desert, which is wonderful. And those measures were graduation rate and AP tests taken. So there's a good measure from the most recent data that came out, but you're right. Those data that will come out this coming year will trend down just a little bit.
I was just wondering because, I saw that, but also, the junior high here, when we first moved here, was the highest rated in the state.
Yeah, we absolutely have had some great ratings over the years, and those are powerful. Those are powerful outcomes because it's not just for us as a as a district, but for the 45,000 residents that you're talking about, right? So we endeavor to again get back to it, as I said, Snowline Success, ensuring that this community is proud of what we offer for these kids. So thanks for sharing what you did. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Thank
Thank
you,
so
sir.
very much.
Good to see you
Thank
again.
Yeah, good to see all of you. Thank you.
All right, so I see Sam Shoup on the line. Sam, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Good to hear. So I just got a pretty brief update for everybody today on something that's been going on here at the county. During the last board meeting this past Tuesday, the board approved a motion to move forward with a potential charter amendment to the county's charter. That'll be placed before the voters this November, the regularly scheduled election on the 8th of November. There will be a second reading of it during the next board meeting next Tuesday before it is finalized. Basically what this amendment will do, if it is approved, it will be mostly a taxpayer protection amendment here. It will require that any tax increases approved by the Board of Supervisors will require 4 members to approve it instead of the current 3/5 simple majority as it stands now. And once that happens, if any tax increase were to be approved by those 4 members, it would then go before the affected voters, regardless of any other circumstances. I know this is something that's caused quite an uproar in certain unincorporated communities over the last few years with certain taxes being approved by the board. So this is something that would prevent further instances of that, allowing more strength to the voters' representation there, making it basically much harder to increase any sort of taxes or to place any sort of new tax on without the vote of the people. Additionally, it would change a few other things regarding supervisors' term limits. It would place an amendment in there as well that would prevent the Board of Supervisors from raising their own pay, very similar to the 27th Amendment in the U.S. Congress, preventing them from raising their own pay for their own term. So there's a few things going on there. The full language will be available once it is approved, if it is fully approved at the next board meeting. But that's basically what it will do, just to make it a lot harder for further tax increases and ensure that all residents have a further voice if anything like that is to come up. Beyond that, that's really the only major thing we have going on that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention today. As always, I'm here if anyone has any questions, whether it's on that or any other county issues. I'm always here to answer those for you.
Thank you very much. Any board members have a question? No?
I'm wondering if if they're going to be entertaining the idea of the state of empire.
Yes, so thank you for bringing that up. The chairman of the board actually called a special meeting on that last night. I found out about it this morning. They're going to be meeting in about 3 minutes, so I won't have an update on that, but I believe there is going to be discussion on whether or not to move that forward to a second reading as well on the 9th, about whether or not to place it on the November ballot as well. So I don't know really any more beyond that. So we'll see today whether or not that moves forward.
That answered my question. Thank you.
Of course.
All right. Thank you so much, Sam. Good to see you again.
Thanks so much, everybody.
All right, and I see Corrine is on there.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Okay, good. Sorry for all the noise. Yes, this is my first time at this meeting, so thank you, Steven, for having me. Our legislative updates for this week is basically a lot of the same things that we have been talking about. Gas prices have still continued to rise, and It seems like we were seeing a lot of voting and taxing, but it's still on the rise, and there was another 3-cent tax increase. Border security is a huge thing. I know, especially in our area with all of the fentanyl cases and how it affects the students in our community. Congressman Obernolte really is trying to fight and secure the southern border. He had a trip over in New Mexico a couple of weeks ago and really said that there was a lot that we could do, and it's really important to protect our border, protect our residents, protect our kids and everything because of the high crime and fentanyl and marijuana grows that happen a lot in our district. Inflation statistics that were released in May show that in April it increased to an 8.3 annual consumer price index increase. So it's saying that with the inflation, it's about $8,000 per family a year. That's how much inflation is affecting our families. So that's definitely something that has been a top thing of discussion. He's on the committee for finding federal savings committee resolution to find and cut wasteful federal spending and a constitutional amendment to require a balanced budget. So that's what he's really focusing right now, because a lot of people in our district and our communities are really affected by this inflation, whether it's through gas, food prices, and things like that. But other than that, those are the updates that I have for you guys. I will leave my email if anybody has any questions or wants to reach out to me directly. Please feel free.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so now we will move on to number 3, consent items. Does anyone have any items they would like to pull? Okay,
I'll move the consent items.
Second.
all right, all in favor of the motion to approve the consent items, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. There were no matters removed from consent, no. So we move on to 6A, discussion and possible action regarding the general manager's salary. Mr. Burns.
Thank you very much. I'm going to turn this right back over to the board. I could give a recommendation, but I think this is up to you to decide.
All right, so recommendation is for the board to implement the remainder of the cost of living adjustment COLA and to determine the merit increase amount. Questions, comments, suggestions?
It's in there for the COLA. Go ahead, Mark. I know you want to say something.
Okay, I'll start, I guess.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I mean, we've all agreed to the adjustments in the cost of living, and that's fine. And I would propose that the 2.5% merit increase be also go into effect.
Second that.
Well, that was not a motion, but.
I know, but I'm seconding it, so I don't have to say it.
Just
I don't
in
have to
case.
repeat.
Okay.
I agree with that as well.
Yep, I would say we would all agree with that. So with that, is there a motion?
Go ahead, Mark.
I will move the cost of living, which is already baked in the process, and the 2.5% merit increase.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. All right, 6B, update on the proposed Civic Center and Phelan Park expansion. Mr. Burns.
I'm going to pass this right over to George.
Hi, good evening. Just an update from the manager's report that I provided in the packet. The Green Commission report was submitted this past Monday, and that was required to continue with the plan check on the civil design, as well as the construction drawings for the building. This is required for any structures over 10,000 square feet, and we're about 14,000 square feet on our project. Really, it's more of a energy efficiency goals, and that includes street lights, indoor lighting, outdoor lighting, HVAC, all the check marks for energy efficiency. The grant of easement was sent out to the property to the north, Van Dam. That's for that easement, that 35-foot wide easement to the park, as part of our Civic Center project. We believe that we're waiting for his legal to review the document and proceed from there. We worked with legal counsel on this, took us a bit, finally put it out and comfortable with what we got. So we're just waiting for a response from Van Dam. The contractor that's representing the Van Dam property has been out there surveying the site for their project. It's been about 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks, and we're out there surveying the site for potential development of that site. That's the 2.5 acres or 2-acre parcel that fronts Sheep Creek Road. They're anxious to get that project going, so they're anxiously waiting for us to get going as well. So, Jim Morrissey, we reached out to Jim Morrissey, and of course he's our senior planner for the project. And they are, I can't say hosting, but they are the lead on our CEQA document. And there are a few components that he is waiting on, he says, but everything else has been submitted. And I believe the Green Commission report was part of it. It's a little slow in responding. He's there 2 to 3 days out of the week. It's frustrating for Stino, who's really been pushing Jim Morrissey on anything. So I think our next plan is to actually go down there and meet with Jim Morrissey, with Stino and staff. The park, we met with KTOA, and we're moving forward with the phase 3 and phase 4 design of the park. They're working with the sub-consultants for the project on their fees, and we should be bringing this to the board at the first meeting in September, which is the 7th. That gives us plenty of time to kind of go through and make sure everything's addressed and covered. With that being said, the Joshua tree mitigation, we are moving forward with the removal of those Joshua trees. It's understood that that's the direction we want to go. There is no cost saving into relocating the trees in the state's eyes. It's just a cost. So that incidental take permit is moving forward with the removal of those trees, and that should be probably within the next month or so. The process for review with the state is questionable. Could take 6 months, could take 4 months, could take 8 months. That's what the feedback we're getting back from them. They got a lot of projects in line to review. Then once they get this review in through, then there might be some comments and adjustments to that report. With that being said, I'm here for any questions. I think I covered everything that already covered in my manager's report.
All right. Any questions? No? Thank you,
good.
sir. All right, moving on to 6C, update on the status of negotiations for Sheep Creek Water. Mr. Burtz.
Yes, we had, I think, a very successful meeting. Not a lot of people attended, but the concerned people in the community attended the meeting in the park the last weekend. I think it was very successful. Heard good feedback. Didn't really hear anything negative about it, and we really tried to keep it positive and not make it any issues between the two districts. They had a meeting today, getting up to the 60% design phase of the project, and I'm going to let George go ahead and take that section.
Oh, I thought you had covered it. I was good with that. We did meet with their project manager, their engineer, as well as Dolores, who's our lead on this consolidation. They met with staff. Sheep Creek representative was there as well. We kind of went over each of the project sites for the interconnection, as well as fire flow mitigation. There's going to be some minor adjustments after this meeting. I believe Chris and Jennifer had assisted with their staff to go visit some of these sites. They want to cover any of that. I wasn't involved in that visit, but with that being said, the 60% mark is really the benchmark for state funding. So once they get to 60% and that is submitted, that is submitted to the state for the project as well as the cost estimate for construction. After that, it ceases for funding. There's a need to have this agreement between both districts for consolidation. So I think by that time, and this is going to be about a month and a half, that we may have a response back from the state on the water rights. So that's the holdup right now. So right now we're in, okay, what do we do from here? Really is a 60% submittal. Surveyor's been out. He's almost completed with the survey on all these interconnections. So they got about a month to prepare the design drawings. So,
Okay.
any questions? I'm here
Nope.
to help.
All right, no questions.
I have
Oh, go
one
ahead.
question. The technical report and appendices, any release time?
Yeah, so when, they're still in draft form right now. Once the draft is approved and it becomes a final document, we can then pass it out to the community or to anybody who would like to see it. But while it's a work in progress, we don't have the authorization to put that out there until it's complete.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to number 7, committee reports, engineering,
Did not meet.
finance,
The minutes are in the meeting. President Kajawa got her feet wet.
again.
And I think the highlight was that we got some additional solar credits, so the solar array is just about neutral at this point. So we're not up millions like we were supposed to, but it's pretty close to neutral, so that was a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Legislative.
We meet next week.
All right, and Park and Rec minutes are in the packet. The highlights were that Mr. Laurent said we were still waiting for grant information, and myself and Director Hoffman had some new ideas for some classes or for some opportunities for mental health ideas. So we'll be looking into those. Solid waste.
Can I
Yeah, go
ask a
ahead.
question? I noticed that, where was it? That the farmer's market is doing well. I was wondering if you'd ever thought about maybe using one of the local farms to integrate some farming and some classes through maybe the high school or something to teach some, not FFA, but some farming.
You used to have one up there, I don't know if they have that.
I know, there used to be, but I know we have a local farm that's entrenched in the Phelan Farmers Market. I was just wondering if maybe they could team up and,
We can certainly look at that. And one of the things when the park complex is developed, we will have a larger community greenhouse and gardening, and they will put on additional classes too with that. They do some out there right now, but the facilities are very limited to what they can do. But I do see that improving over the next couple of years, and we will look into that.
well, that's good. I was just thinking of, I mean, I grew up a bunch of cowboys and farmers, and, learning that stuff, a plumber crane operator makes a lot of money now, so anyways.
It's a good idea. All right, solid waste.
Well, we meet next week, but the minutes from our previous meeting from last month is in here. And we really went over SB 1383 a lot in that meeting. It's a really good one to refer people to for information. It's a good, just solid on that.
Yeah.
Our next meeting will be going over it some more and where we're at with things. And we meet next week from tomorrow.
Has anything changed on that? I mean, have you come up with other ideas or anything?
No, we're still, because we brought up the same things that we always bring up, the de minimis users and all that, and we still don't have any additional information on that.
Right.
Did you want to add anything, Kim?
Yeah, so we know that we're going to have to revise our ordinance before implementation begins. And so basically just cataloging some of those changes, including coming up, brainstorming with CR&R provisions for de minimis. So meaning our constituents that don't produce trash. So making sure that there's an exemption process that they can go through. So yeah, we're still a ways off. Again, we still don't know where our end product is going to go and exactly how the service is going to look like. And so once we have a better idea on that, we'll begin education and outreach.
Thank you. That was a good question. All right, number 8, staff and general managers report. Mr. Bartz?
I don't have a whole lot to add to the manager's report, but if there are any questions, I'm happy to go over that. Something I did want to cover though is the August 17th board meeting. We really don't have any agenda items other than we have a potentially an out of service agreement coming up. And so something for the board to consider is if we'd like to cancel the August 17th board meeting.
Okay.
Save some money for the district.
We don't have anything. That'll be fine.
All right.
But we're on,
Hmm?
I can ask George a question though regarding his engineer report now.
Yeah,
Or are
go
you
ahead.
there yet?
No, go ahead.
Wow. The well, we're still in October, according to this, as far as drilling starting?
Yes, yes, we are. That's where we're scheduled is for October. There was a site visit from the county. They do their due diligence and pretty much what the CEQA requirements are. It was a quick visit. Sean met with them about a week and a half ago. So right now, they are scheduled for October. And Chris, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but
So we're just waiting.
we're
It's
just
ready,
waiting.
but we're
It's
just
ready.
waiting.
We're just waiting. We're going to have a surveyor go out there and stake the actual location of the well. Well, we got until October to do this. And with the weather that we're having, it's almost not intuitive to do it now.
Right.
By the time we get into October, it may be washed away, who knows? So we'll wait till we get closer to that date.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, so we will move on to director's reports. Start with Director Phillips,
Nothing to report.
Director Roberts,
Nothing to report.
Director Hoffman.
We have nothing, thank you.
All right, and I have nothing new to report either, so we will move on to 10 correspondence. And I see that you have something flipped over, so do you have a question?
We have our
Yeah.
billing
He's got a
schedule,
tab.
the notice of water rate change. We have an upcoming used oil filter event at AutoZone that's in September. Our conservation outreach. And of course, our movie nights, which go through September 16th. And we have a town hall this Saturday, which will be in the community center because it's hot.
Yeah, perfect. And possibly a wet day, too.
Yeah, it might thunderstorm, so.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe the light show with it.
All right, any questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead.
Page 60, big 61, it's the notice of water rate changes. In the second blue line, that's the unit, one unit is 748 gallons, which is 100 cubic feet. But you've got a unit, and then over on the left, you've got HCF. So I know what it is, but people may look at that and go, I don't understand. HCF unit, what are we doing here? So you've got two different
I can see that,
things, and I think it should be changed
Easy
to be
fix.
consistent.
No problem.
Good idea.
Awesome.
That's it.
All right. Nothing else?
Nope.
Okay. So, number 11, review of action items. Were there any prior meeting action items?
There were none.
And current meeting action items?
There are none, other than the slight revision to the notice of water rate change.
All right. So then we are on number 12, set agenda for next meeting. So are we all in agreement to skip it if there's nothing pressing?
Yeah, if nothing comes up.
Yep, when it comes up, I'm fine with that.
All right, excellent. All right, so we will now recess to closed session at 6:33 PM.
Do you want to take about a 10-minute break in between?